The following podcast is by Mr. Jim Koewler, elder law and special needs attorney, helping and protecting those who need long-term care. And welcome back, everyone, to the Answers for Elders podcast radio network. And again, I have been talking with Mr. Jim Koewler, attorney at law, elder law attorney in the state of Ohio, and we have been talking about eligibility and veterans, quote unquote, benefits. And if you have a loved one that has served time in the military, there could be some benefits available to them. And so make sure you check out all of our podcasts in this segment. And we're going to wrap up this last podcast with you, Jim, and talking about eligibility. So the stage is yours, my friend.
Thank you. In our previous sections, we talked about eligibility other than financial issues for VA pension, what most people call aid in attendance, and they call it that incorrectly, sorry. But now we're going to talk about financial eligibility because that got more complicated in 2018. There was a rule change, or actually a new rule, not a rule change, a new rule put out in 2018 that made eligibility easier in some ways on financial issues, but much more difficult in other ways. So this is past care issues, past everything else, and also not talking about the income, whether your costs of care are close to your income. This is about assets now, okay? And what you had in the bank, what you have in the bank as you, after your income has arrived, you pay your expenses for the month, and now 1 month rolls into the next. That is assets for this purpose. It's very similar to the way Medicaid looks at what they call resources, okay? So financial eligibility on assets for VA pension is, and these are the 2021 numbers. Remember, that's December 21 through December of 22, we presume. So we're taping in February of 22. These are the current numbers in February 22. Your assets have to be less than $138,489. For those of you who are only
Interesting
listening,
number, how they come to that. Why didn't they just say 140,000?
well, they picked actually in 2018 when VA adopted this rule, they chose the number that matched the community spouse resource allowance maximum in Medicaid. Okay. So they aligned a very useful Medicaid number and a very with what became a very useful or very important VA number. Okay. But Medicaid gets its cost of living adjustment through Social Security, which is now the chained cost of living adjustment, meaning it's a little lower than actual cost of living changes. Where VA does not. So VA is usually about 1/10 of a point, maybe even more higher. But you take any cost of living adjustment, whatever round number you had in year one is gone in year two. Okay. So it's not a round number. Hey, we're lucky they took the cents to zero. Okay. But yeah, it's an odd number, but it's the history of started with a round number, and then cost of living adjustments mess it up, both for Medicaid and VA, okay? It wasn't a round number when they adopted the rule because they went with Medicaid's already not round number through its years of cost of living adjustments. But then the numbers have diverged a little bit, okay? So assets, $138,489 or less. Now, to make it complicated, that number is assets plus 1 year. What they're looking at is assets plus 1 year of income as VA calculates it. So it's gross income minus healthcare costs or income for VA purposes, IVAP. Okay. This is not something to try at home. This is a huge complication for people who don't understand it.
Right.
And just like Medicaid, they made it a non-user friendly system. Go get help from someone who's accredited. Accreditation is back in segment 1. Okay.
And here's the thing that I'm going to reiterate. How many families do I work with that they tried to do it on their own? And then when it got rejected, it was like 6-7 months backlog.
Easily. The financial analysis since this 2018 rule really has slowed down the process. Okay.
Crazy.
So, and now mind you, if you are close to going broke, and I'm assuming you are the applicant here. Okay.
Right.
You are close to going broke. $30,000 seems to get a quicker review. If you've got what looks to be eligibility, but plenty of money, just to, use a very loosey-goosey term, then you're going to go in the, oh, I'll get to it pile.
Yeah.
If you are the, oh, geez, if I don't get with this, get on this, Jim's going to run.
They're going to be on the street.
The care will stop. VA will get to it. Okay. And 30 grand, and there's no hard and fast number. This is just a very practical, through experience, 30 grand seems to be kind of a tipping point there. Okay. And time counts, time matters here. Okay.
Sure does.
And then in addition, within that 138,489, they look at the applicant's real estate, including the home, except for 2 acres. So if the applicant has a farm, lives on the farm, and let's say 30 acres, 28 of those acres count. So the cash value, the sale value, according to the market, or at least according to the county records of what land is worth, that counts toward the 138. So people with huge farms are not going to be able to get in. Really, I think it's unfair, but that's what VA did. And then, as I mentioned before in an earlier segment, the income is below or close to medical expense. In addition, in 2018, and we'll talk about this through the rest of the segment, you could qualify financially for VA benefits, even if you had given something away the day before you applied. What Medicaid would call an improper transfer and looks back 5 years on, VA did not have a look back. And that was according to the law. That was in accordance with the law. In 2018, this rule creates a 3-year look back. Now, that is a huge legal issue, looking for the right person to take to court.
Absolutely.
The community of elder law attorneys, in other words, all the lawyers like me, we gossip like crazy. Okay. Do we all like each other? Not all of us, but most of us.
Yeah.
We are looking for the right plaintiff to take to court because the rule does not agree with the law. The law should control, but we want to find a sympathetic plaintiff. We don't want to find somebody who gave away $1 million because the court's really going to want to beat this person up. Okay. We're looking for somebody who gave away 8,000 and then didn't get coverage. So we are looking for somebody to beat up on this rule, or the Biden administration will change it because it's a Trump era rule. Biden administration has been kind of busy with other stuff. I can't remember what it was. It's really taking their time. What was that, Suzanne? COVID. But maybe they'll get to this. Maybe they won't. We'll see who the next president is. But this is a big issue among elder law attorneys, especially those doing VA work. Okay. So VA, if someone has given money away to create financial eligibility, that is a VA pension issue. We haven't yet talked about compensation in detail, VA disability. We haven't talked about VA health benefits in detail. We'll bring those up probably in some future program because this is going to be the last segment on VA pension and the basics of VA benefits. Sure. Okay. But prior transfers, giving stuff away is an issue only for VA pension, because that's where financial eligibility is a big deal. There's a 3-year look back. So VA will look back in the last 3 years from date of application, figure the whole month, and then back another 3 years. So 36 months plus the month you're looking in. So potentially 37 months in total. Okay. Well, and we'll penalize things given away only to the extent they created eligibility. So let's say somebody was at the $138,000 level. I'm sorry, someone was at $145,000. So they're $7,000 over. Okay. Gave away $20,000. So now they're at $125,000. Well, the penalty will only be the $7,000, applying to the $7,000 from where they were to the point of eligibility. If they are at or below the $138,000 that they're allowed to have and apply, and they give some of that away, VA doesn't care. That's fine. Medicaid is fussy about it. If you give away something even below your $2,000, they're going to penalize you for that. At least in Ohio, they are. VA, not so much. So, and the penalty can be up to 5 years. So look back is not as long as the potential penalty.
Unbelievable.
They look at what you gave away or what you prior transferred, to make air quotes, and divide that by $2,431.25. That is, if you look back to the prior segment, that is the maximum VA benefit that a married couple can receive when the when the veteran is the one who needs aid in attendance. That's where that number comes from. So that gets changed with cost of living in December. Okay. Divide the amount given away by 2431.25. So let's say they gave away $24,000 to get them to the point they were eligible to $138,000. Then VA is going to penalize them for 10 months. Okay. So before I move on to tricky issues, that penalty starts the next month after the improper or the prior transfer. Okay. So if the prior transfer was 12 months ago and the penalty is 10 months, the penalty is run out.
Right.
That's different than Medicaid, by the way. Okay. That is different than Medicaid. We'll talk about it at some point in the future. So do not use the Medicaid penalty system and use it in VA. Starts different. This is the way Medicaid used to be before 2007. So if you remember that, and if you're a member of the public, you probably don't, but if you're an elder law attorney, you probably do. Okay. This is the way Medicaid handled it pre-Deficit Reduction Act of 2007. Okay. So the penalty may run out. So just 30 seconds left. Tricky issues that we see with financial eligibility is, and this is not just giving stuff away. Okay. How do you provide for the spouse's expense at home? Because they look at the entire income and wealth of the household, not just the applicant. You have to decide whether to give away assets, whether it makes sense. What are you going to do about eligibility? How much do you need VA money in the time period that you'll be penalized? Trying to get your income within the target amount because your expenses, while predictable, until you start incurring them, you're guessing. And they could go up as healthcare needs, or maybe they go down because you got better or a new technology or a lower cost provider or something. Okay. And the trickiest issue of all is getting VA pension and not screwing up your eligibility for Medicaid for long-term care should you need that in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good.
I have reached the end of what we're going to talk about now. At some point in the future, we'll talk about compensation, also known as disability. But for pension, I think we're done.
Well, you know what, Jim, I'm very, very pleased that you've spent the time with us today. And I have learned a whole bunch, and I hope that each and every one of you that have listened to this presentation do so too. And we're going to come back with more information on veterans benefits, because I think this is a really, really important issue. And so until then, for everyone, we are recording this on a Friday, the 18th, and we have President's Day coming up. And so it is a big day for our country. And I hope everyone out there has a great 3-day weekend, although you probably won't see this till afterwards. I hope you had a great 3-day weekend. So Jim, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Suzanne.
And to all of you, remember what I always say, be good to each other. State of Ohio residents, you have a friend to help you navigate long-term care while protecting your assets. You can reach Jim at www.protectingseniors.com or just email him at jkoewler-afe, that's jkoewler, afe, at protectingseniors.com.